Imagine you are at 30,000 feet. You are descending into New York. The weather is bad. The pilot reaches for the radio to confirm landing clearance and hears nothing. No controller, no guidance, no eyes in the sky. For decades, we thought the U.S. aviation system was invincible, a machine that never sleeps. But on a Tuesday morning in 2026, the machine didn't just break, it died. This isn't a movie scenario. This is the mathematical certainty facing America right now. The world's largest aviation network has officially collapsed from the inside out. And if you have a ticket booked this year, you are part of the experiment. Every number in this system is a body. The Federal Aviation Administration set its minimum safe workforce at 15,000 certified controllers. Today, there are fewer than 11,000. That is a gap of over 4,000 missing eyes and voices, enough to staff the entire airspace over the western United States. The math is not abstract. It is a roster, a schedule, a cold subtraction. Out of 290 terminal facilities, 118 fell short of even 85% of the required staff last year. At Grand Forks, only a little over half the desks are filled. Just 53% of the people needed to keep the air moving. Atlanta, the world's busiest airport, is short by nearly 1 in 5. These are not outliers. They are the new normal. The FAA's own plans call for hiring more than 2,000 new controllers each year, but the pipeline is clogged. Training a single controller takes 2 to 3 years, and that is if they make it through. Washouts are common. The deficit is not closing. It is growing. Every empty seat in a control room means another sector stretched thin, another shift doubled, another voice missing from the frequency. The system's capacity has become a fiction, a number on a spreadsheet that no longer matches the reality on the ground. In the world's largest aviation network, the difference between 15,000 and 11,000 is not just a statistic. It is the line between order and chaos. New York's TRACON, known as N90, is the nerve center for the busiest stretch of airspace in America. On the surface, its radar screens pulse with the constant flow of jets into JFK, LaGuardia, and Newark. But behind the glass, the room is half empty. Just over half the controller positions are filled, 53%. The rest are vacant, left dark as the system tries to function with a skeleton crew. Miami, another major hub, mirrors this emptiness. Desks once manned by seasoned controllers now sit silent, their consoles dimmed, the glow of radar replaced by the absence of oversight. Each missing controller means another sector collapsed, 2 workstations merged into one, flights stacked higher in holding patterns, while a single voice juggles dozens of lives at once. At 53% staffing, the math becomes a threat. There are not enough people to cover the map. When weather rolls in or a runway closes, there is no slack. One sick call, and the entire grid trembles. FAA's internal data shows this is not a local problem. It is the pattern at hub after hub. Sector boundaries blur, and the safety margins that once protected every approach and departure are erased. The system is held together by fewer hands, stretching farther each month. What was designed as a layered network of fail-safes is now a patchwork, where the loss of a single controller can unravel the flow for thousands of flights. In these half-empty rooms, the illusion of control persists, until the next mistake makes the headlines. Sam's alarm blares at 3:55 in the morning. There's no sunrise, just the blue glow of a phone screen and the ache of 5 hours of sleep. For air traffic controllers like Sam, this is the 6th day in a row. The roster calls it a rattler, a week that bends time, twisting nights into mornings, days into half-remembered shifts. Sam's badge clocked 56 hours last week. There's no choice. The empty seats demand it. Nearly 40% of controllers now work mandatory 6-day rotations, filling holes left by colleagues who retired, burned out, or simply vanished from the schedule. Inside the control room, the air is heavy with recycled coffee and the hum of radar. Sam's eyes flicker across a grid of green blips, each one a jet loaded with lives. The mind starts to drift. Fatigue modeling shows that after a week like this, alertness can dip to the equivalent of 0.05% blood alcohol content, the legal limit to drive in many states. Reaction times slow, judgment blurs, mistakes hide in plain sight. The union calls them zombie controllers. The job demands perfection, but the body can't keep up. The FAA says safety is non-negotiable, but the numbers say otherwise. Overtime is no longer a backup plan, it's the only plan. 6-day weeks are routine at nearly half of America's towers. The price is paid in attention, in memory, in the subtle erosion of vigilance. Sam's wife texts at noon and asks, "Did you eat?" But the phone stays silent. There's no time for lunch, no margin for error. The system expects Sam to be flawless, but exhaustion is the only thing that's guaranteed. A controller's mistake can echo for miles. Tomorrow it will. February 4th, 2023, Austin Bergstrom International. Dense fog blurs the runway, visibility down to a quarter mile. On final approach, FedEx 1432, a fully loaded 767, descends through the gray, its crew straining for any sign of tarmac. At the end of the same runway, Southwest 708, a 737 with 128 people on board, waits for takeoff clearance. The tower controller, working through a wall of radio static and fatigue, clears both planes for the same strip of concrete. There is no ground radar, no extra set of eyes in the room, just a single, exhausted voice juggling a dozen tasks at once. The cockpit voice recorders catch it all. FedEx's first officer, Robert Burdine, spots the faint outline of the Southwest jet too late. He shouts, "Abort! Southwest! Abort!" his voice cutting through the confusion. The traffic collision avoidance system blares a warning. Captain Hugo Carvajal yanks the controls, pulling the FedEx jet into a desperate climb. Beneath them, the Southwest 737 lumbers onto the runway, engines roaring, unaware of the shadow passing overhead. Separation was 170 feet. That is less than the length of a city bus. The difference between 138 lives lost and a story that barely made the news. The tower's frequency crackles with stunned silence. No apology, no explanation, just the sound of breathing, heavy and shaken. The NTSB calls it a near disaster. Investigators later find the controller assumed Southwest was already rolling, distracted by overlapping tasks and unable to see through the fog. Fatigue, workload, and a missing safety net combined in a single moment. This was not a warning shot across the bow. It was a glimpse of what happens when the system's last thread snaps. Controllers are required by law to show up, even when the government stops paying them. During the 35-day shutdown, their paychecks vanished, but the traffic never did. Some worked for weeks without a dollar, guiding planes through storms and emergencies on nothing but obligation and caffeine. The union warned that fatigue and stress would drive people out, but no one was prepared for how many would actually leave. Within weeks, veteran controllers, some with decades of experience, filed their retirement papers. Others simply walked away, unwilling to gamble their families' futures on IOUs and hope. The pipeline of new trainees froze as hiring and academy classes halted. Each resignation was not just a lost headcount, it was a lifetime of local knowledge, a mentor for the next generation, erased in an instant. The exodus was not theoretical. It was a mass departure you could see on rosters, in empty break rooms, and in the silence where voices used to fill the midnight shift. The promise of new hires dissolves in the bottleneck of the FAA Academy. Each year, the classroom in Oklahoma City can process about 1,500 hopefuls, but not all will finish. 1 in 5, sometimes more, wash out, sent home before ever touching a live radar screen. For those who remain, the journey is just beginning. Certification takes 3 to 5 years, stretching from classroom simulations to months of on-the-job training at real towers. Every delay, every failed check ride pushes the finish line farther away. The math is relentless. Even at full capacity, the Academy cannot replace the wave of retirements and resignations now hitting the system. The deficit grows faster than the pipeline can fill it. There is no shortcut, no surge that can conjure thousands of new controllers overnight. The gap is not just a number, it's a shadow that will linger for years. Right now, towers built for 15,000 controllers run on barely 11,000. The system limps forward, haunted by fatigue, patchwork fixes, and silence where voices once guided flights. This isn't turbulence. It's a new reality. American skies managed by ghosts. The golden age is over. We are flying on borrowed time.